Dropshipping, one of the most famous gateways to many people's entrepreneurial journey. Dropshipping has evolved a lot throughout the last few years, although the essence of it is still the same. Link the supplier to the buyer and take a cut which will be your profit. This business model has a relatively low barrier of entry since it may cost very little money to start and is also quite simple. Of course, that also depends on which dropshipping approach you take, as some may require more work than others. So you may be asking, Edus, have you tried out dropshipping yourself? Well, yes, I did. In fact, I've done it twice. The first store that I started was when I was 14 years old, and I sold alpaca related products. And guess how many sales I made? One. Yes, just one. But it was fine, because to me, it was a great lesson that taught me many things like website hosting choices, different ways to market the business, and much more. So after a few months, I closed the store down and started a new one which sold gaming products. This time, I took the things I learned from the previous store and applied it to the second store. And guess what? The results were much better. Instead of just one sale, I made about 15 to 20 sales. Not that great, but it was awesome progress. This was only possible because my website was much smoother, cleaner, and the approach for marketing was different too. I'll talk more about that later on. So what did I change and improve on my second store that produced higher sales? Alright, let's start with website hosting. So for the first store, I used Shopify, which was a very beginner-friendly platform and has all the essential features that you need to use when building an online store. However, there's one major downside to this option too, which is the price. Shopify has one of the highest costs compared to its competitors, which is a major factor when you're just starting out and don't have much capital. Moving on to the second store, I started off with Shopify, then moved on to WordPress as it is a much cheaper option. However, I took a long time to figure everything out as it's not as straightforward as compared to the first Shopify store, but it did provide more customization options such as website templates, which would have cost a lot on Shopify. There are a lot of options out there besides Shopify or WordPress, but the main alternative that I would recommend would be Acquit, as it is similar to Shopify but at a much lower cost. Now that you have a platform to start selling things, what are you going to sell? So there are three types of stores out there. Firstly, a single product store. Secondly, a multi-product store of the same niche. And lastly, a multi-product store with multiple niches. Of course, like many things out there are pros and cons. For the single product store, the good thing about it is that you can focus on marketing and selling just one product, and your website may look very clean. However, the bad thing about this is that if your product that you're selling does not attract buyers or does not work out in general, you may have to remodel or close down your store. On the other hand, for the multi-product store of the same niche, you'll be able to focus your marketing on a single target niche. However, not as strong as a single product store. Since you're selling multiple products of the same niche, there's a higher chance of a buyer purchasing something from your store compared to a single product store. The cons of this is that it requires more effort and time to set the store up, as you may have to source from multiple suppliers and also take more time to design the store. Lastly, we have a multi-product store with multiple niches. For this type of stores, it is the least focused. However, the good thing about it is that there's a wide selection of products, which also translates to higher chances of people purchasing something from your store. The bad thing about it is that these type of stores are very difficult for you to target a specific audience and will take a lot more time to start the store. So with all of that being said, which is the one that I would recommend? Personally, I find that the single product store and the multi-product store of the same niche is the most viable option and the ones that I've seen the most success in. But the real question is, does dropshipping still work in 2022? Yes, it does. A lot of people say that dropshipping is dead in 2021 or 2022. This is true to a certain extent, as you have to make some tweaks to it in order for it to work well. Instead of just selling any product that you may find interesting or popular, sell a product that will actually solve a problem and make others happy. Only when that is accomplished, the money will flow to you automatically. It is also a bonus if the product is not widely known yet, which will allow you to market it as your own. In order for dropshipping stores to work well in 2022, you will have to provide smooth and fast transaction and delivery time. What I mean by this is that your website has to be optimized for sales and should take as little time as possible for a customer to purchase a product from your store. For delivery wise, it should take no longer than 2 weeks to deliver. In fact, if possible, 1 week. This is because e-commerce platforms such as Amazon and other online stores set the standard delivery time to around 1 to 2 weeks, and customers will expect that standard from your store too. You can achieve this by purchasing products from your supplier in advance, preferably in bulk, and store it in your house or storage unit if you have one. This will save you a lot of time, as you can send your repackaged product directly from your location to your customer's location. Another method would be to choose a faster or more specialized delivery service for that country. Now, let's talk about marketing. There are many approaches to this. The ones that I find most effective are Instagram theme pages, micro-influencers, newsletters, TikTok ads, Google ads, and Instagram ads. Firstly, let's talk about Instagram theme pages and micro-influencers. They will charge you some money for promoting your product through a post or story, depending on the size of their following and their engagement. However, a better approach of this would be a product review in the form of video of them actually using your product, preferably on TikTok, as it is much easier to go viral there. The next thing that you could do will be newsletters. This can be done by placing a pop-up section on your website, which allows your customer or potential customers to enter their email address in, which will allow them to receive newsletters from your store. When they sign up for the newsletter using their email, you can send them an email every few days or weeks, giving information about what's going on with the store, such as upcoming or current sales, and maybe even new events. This will constantly remind your customers or potential customers that your store exists, and they will be more likely to purchase something from you whenever they are looking for the item. A very good example of this would be heart jewelry. They send me an email every few days or weeks stating their new products or upcoming sales. This made me more inclined to buy jewelry from them in the future, or at least take a look at their store. Moving on, we have Instagram, TikTok, and Google ads. This one is actually quite simple. Basically just get advertisements on these social media platforms. Personally, I find that TikTok ads are the most effective, although not a lot of people are talking about it. Since TikTok is relatively new compared to the other platforms, I believe that they charge lower while allowing you to reach more people. Lastly, we have the cheapest method, which is to create your own content on the various social media platforms and grow the page. This method will be the most tedious, time-consuming, and take the most effort, although it will produce the longest lasting result, as you can build a brand for yourself. So combine this method with the other methods mentioned above, and you will be good. So do you think you have what it takes to start your very own dropshipping store? If you do, then go ahead. Even if it doesn't do well, remember that my first dropshipping store only had one sale. And also remember that failure is a catalyst for success. Thank you for staying to the end of the video. Please hit the like and subscribe button down below. And also remember to hit the bell icon to get notified whenever I post a new video. With that being said, remember to save, invest, and win. Adders signing out.